I'm going to call this video mid-range, mid-priced vacuums I recommend, or something like that. So I have a new lavalier mic. So I'm going to try that out. I don't know if it can handle dynamic range real well, or
if it makes me sound funny.
But, well, let's see what happens. You got to try some new equipment once in a while. So on the left, I have bagged vacuums, and on the right, I have bagless vacuums. But I have to pick one, just one from each category. So let's start out with the bagged category here on the left. So I have this Riccar 8850 and this Panasonic Performance Plus Platinum. Why is it, PPPPPPP. So what are the differences between these two machines? Because in many ways, they're kind of similar. I mean, they don't have height adjustments. They do have onboard tools. I think both of them look nice. One is obviously a newer design than another one, but there's one machine that clearly stands out that both Mrs. VacLab and we pick every single time. And can you guess which one it is when we're specifically trying to vacuum 1,000 square feet of carpet? Well, if you guessed the Panasonic, you'd be right. And you know what the big difference is? Pushability. So when you go and recline the machine, this machine doesn't have a height adjustment, but as hopefully you can see here, it does change the attack angle a bit. But guess what? When you push this forward and backward, even with the machine off, it is very reasonable and easy to push. The handle weight isn't too bad. It's just not a problem. So if I switch over to the Riccar, then the handle weight is much heavier. But what really gets you, in addition to the handle weight, is the pushability. I mean, here I am pushing with the butt of my hand. I'm not holding anything. And this requires some real effort. And you say, well, it's going to be much easier when you turn it on. Unfortunately, not really, because this reclines differently than the Panasonic, and it literally digs, or maybe I should say shovels its way into the carpet. So we're going to move the Panasonic out of view and take a look at the bagless machines now. So I have a fairly new, I think it's a 2018, it was a curb find, Dyson DC33. I like to also refer to it as a perfected Dyson DC07. I do have a DC14. That was my first Dyson. It's over there. So it's an upgraded version of that, to be sure. And I have Thomas Rechtenwald's old Shark right here. And this one required, well, a little bit of help because the motor went poof. And I put a new motor in. It's the appropriate motor for it. It's not anything that's, abnormally powerful or anything like that. And both of these machines are obviously bagless. They have completely different brush roll designs. They have removable wands. See, this one would pop up and you can take this out there. They have onboard tools. This one, of course, can separate into, two big pieces. But the Shark has a maneuverability issue, believe it or not, compared to the DC33. So, same thing as my bag machines. I go to recline it, and there's a huge amount of weight in the handle, well, compared to the DC33. And when you try to maneuver it, especially when the machine's on, if you choose to use full suction, it's really difficult to push. It's not terrible, but you will give yourself a workout using this machine. Also, don't you love all that creaky plastic goodness? Now, in contrast, switch hands here, the DC33, when I go and recline it, the handle is much more ergonomic. It's a lot lighter, and it's very easy to steer and to push and pull forward. It's really very, very nice. This one does not have one of the screamer motors in it. Well, not like a high pitch that used to really bother me in some other Dysons. So overall, this one actually wins the mid-priced Bagless. Bet you never thought of that. And when you look up the pickup, especially when you're talking about the mixed dirt that I do with my whole house carpet cleaning, these two machines, both of them are definitely in the mid-range. And that one's got one of the weirdest brush rolls ever. When I first came across my DC-14, I looked at it and went, man, that's a really strange brush roll. But it does work. Here's a view you don't see very often because I usually start in the other direction. All right, so I hope my lavalier mic doesn't blow your ears out because it can't handle the dynamic range of a loud vacuum motor. But let's find out. Oh yeah, this, I mean, almost goes by itself. So you can see the carpet lines. And my wife has, if you're new to this channel, 2-foot long hair. And guess what? You don't get that much hair pickup on this all metal, really expensive brush roll. Boy, if this brush roll breaks, most people just frankly throw the vacuum out because it is so unbelievably expensive. So take care of it. It's got a bunch of bearings that can be re-greased. Yeah, plenty of agitation. I got this machine, this is a thrift store find. I got it used, and it was primarily used, no, you know what, I was going to say it was primarily used to pick up birdseed, but I might be confusing it with my green Riccar. It's been so many years, I really don't remember now. So I like the headlight. I always like my vacuums to have headlights. That way you don't always have to go and, you know, turn the lights on. You can see the exhaust kind of blows the blankets around there. I don't feel it, but they do. And from where my ears are, this is not an unpleasant sound at all. If you wanted to turn the brush roll off, you can. There you go. Now the brush roll is off, and you could do bare floors. But how about I just end it with looking at the brush roll. And see, we already have some, my wife's hair starting to build up here. But believe it or not, it doesn't collect as bad as what you might think. So it does, but it's pretty easy to pull out. And it's a metal plate. You pop it off by just kind of doing this and then, you know, pulling down, and you can get to everything fairly easily. Bags are pretty easy to get. Belts are pretty easy to get so far. And that will do it for one of our most popular bagged options. Very nice. Okay, on to the Dyson. One aspect of some Dysons I've always greatly appreciated is a super long cord. So my house is about 45 feet wide, and with some machines, I can plug them in once somewhere in the middle of the house, and I can do an entire floor without having to replug. Really handy. This machine was a curb find, and all it needed was a rug plate. Well, and a cleaning. They always need a cleaning. But this thing is, I guess, relatively easy to go forward and backward, and side to side, it's unbelievably easy. So the ball machines that they made aren't necessarily an improvement. These work so well. And of course, you can turn the brush roll off. It's got a little foot switch over there on the right. If you find that your DC07, 14, 33, blah, blah, blah of this type has a brush roll that's sounding kind of loud, you could replace it if you wanted to, or you could simply clean out and re-grease the bearings if the bristles aren't completely trashed. There you go. See? It's got some carpet agitation. All right, now I'm going to show you just how long the cord is. So I'll turn this off. Oh yeah, this is something else I normally like to do. I like to wheel my vacuums, well, with them tilted and, on their rear wheels. Well, you can't do that on the ball vacuums very well. They don't really tolerate it. See that cord? All the way over there. So I plugged it in a completely different room. See, I even put the plug in a socket behind the microwave. There it is. And yeah, I can easily do an entire floor without having to replug. Really easy to turn and maneuver. And this does not have a screechy, high-pitched squeal. I wish it had headlights, but you can't have everything. This always makes me smile, because this thing, I mean, when you go and park, the machine so it's bolt upright, unfortunately it sends all your airflow and suction through this piece, and you hit it with your hand, or you hit it with like a sleeve or something like that, and you're always hitting it. So unfortunately, that's just the way it's designed. It's comical after a while, but when you first got it, you're like, oh, geez, am I always going to be messing with the wand? All right, let's take a look at the brush roll. We'll go ahead and close out this video. All right, here we go. There we go. See, really weird kind of a brush roll. I mean, I guess it was more common, like, say, 20 years ago, and you can see here's my wife's hair beginning to pile up. I will say that this one hangs on to really long hair more than other brush rolls. But it's got this really large opening, got a little opening right there. It works very well for bare floors as well as carpet. So thanks for watching. And this is actually a second video in the series. So we did some more economically priced machines a number of months back, and then here's mid-price machines. So stay tuned for the next video in the series. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.